Hey, this is Zoe Thorogood, creator of It's Lonely at the Center of the Earth, and you're listening to 11 O'Clock Comics.
Sayonara, sucker.
Mm-hmm.
Name the movie. Can't do it, can you?
Oh, hell.
Give you a hint. Oh, yeah. Spielberg.
I'm not going to say good. No. Anyway.
Close Encounters?
1941.
Oh, shit. Yeah, that's
okay,
what. Yeah, only you and Jim Belushi saw that. So.
Oh, 1941 is a fucking masterpiece.
I know it is. No,
Eddie Deasen's in it, dude.
I kid.
Stuck on a Ferris wheel? What? Yeah, I love 1941. John Belushi? What? Aykroyd's in it?
It was adapted by Marvel, wasn't it?
No. It was was it Tundra? Was it?
No.
I don't know if it was Marvel.
Fucking hell.
It was epic. Yeah. I think
Holy
it was
shit.
epic. Yeah.
Go me.
I think that's one of the greatest graphic novels ever because Bissett and Veitch went right in and said, fuck it. We're going to do whatever the hell we want to do. We're not going to follow the movie.
Common theme.
Yeah, it's nuts. It is insane. And this is insane. You know why? Because it's 11 O'Clock Comics, episode 966. And I'm Vince B.
Oof. You are Vince B. I'm David A. Price.
Good evening, Mr. Wick. I am Charon.
Wow. You're doing some dinner theater there.
Rest in peace.
Yeah. You're not Charon. You're Jason Wood, everybody. Here together on yet another episode. We're going to have some fun as usual because in a world of shit, rest assured, 11 O'Clock Comics will always be your safe space.
Yes, sir.
Yep. And if you want to save and save big on OGNs, trade paperbacks, omnibus editions, manga, art books, where do you go where the prices are super low? cheapgraphicnovels.com. Let's say it again. Listen to the words within the URL. cheapgraphicnovels.com. Everything you need to know. All that shit massively discounted. And if you're a first-time customer, buy something. Pace yourself, youngster. Spend some money, but not too much. Max is going to return. No, I'm getting ahead of myself. You're going to get an email confirmation. You're going to reply to the email confirmation saying, I love this place, and I never would have known about it unless it was 11 O'Clock Comics. And then Max is going to reply to your email saying, hey, you know what? You're super smart. Free shipping on your next order. And then he's going to write me an email message and say, why the hell did you fuck that up? That's the easiest thing to do, you jerk. Oh, and guess what? They also have specials.
I bet they do.
Yes, they do.
Yeah, they do. And guess what?
They do.
They also have specials.
You want to know what they are?
I sure
You know
do. Yes.
Good. And it was weird. And this is why, I mean, it's part of a theme. Because some of the links were wonky this week. Not only just in the email, but also on the site. So I had to do some sleuthing. But some of the things that I found fascinating released this week include the Atlas Artist Edition Volume 2 Al Williamson hardcover. Comes in at $93.75. It's the second volume.
I want that
in the
so
Fantagraphics
bad.
Series. What?
I want it so bad.
It looks gorgeous. It spotlights industry stalwart Al Williamson, and this is what I didn't know, whose Atlas stories collectively are the largest single body of work Al would ever do as a primary creator for one company.
Yeah.
I did not know he did most. I did not know that Atlas consisted of like the bulk of. So
he was like a hummingbird at EC. It was like, I'll do something, then he goes away, and he came back. Right. Yeah.
But I mean, of course, the Star Wars syndicated strip, and the Return of the Jedi 4 issues. But also you have the Backtrack Lux Edition hardcover. That's $29.99. It collects the 10 issues of that miniseries. This one's fun. DC Finest Green Arrow, the Longbow Hunters trade paperback, $23.99. This collects, when Grell relaunched the character, collects the 3-issue Longbow Hunters miniseries, the ongoing that spun off from it, the first 8 issues of Green Arrow, Green Arrow Annual Number 1, Detective Comics Annual Number 1, The Question Number 17 and 18, and The Question Annual Number 1. That three-parter going across the annuals, that's worth it right there.
Oh, for real. Yeah.
This is for Ian, Traveling to Mars trade paperback, $22.49. This is from Mark Russell and Roberto Melli. It is the Eisner-nominated science fiction story of a former pet store manager and current terminally ill Roy Livingston. He's the first human to ever set foot on Mars. It collects Traveling to Mars 1 through 11 and the cover gallery and bonus material. And finally, Vagabond Definitive Edition Volume 1 hardcover, $41.25. It's a large trim definitive edition collecting 3 volumes of the phenomenal samurai story by manga legend Takiko Inui, and I butchered that. Vagabond is an action-packed portrayal of the life and times of the quintessential warrior philosopher, the most celebrated samurai of all time.
That is a great series. Should get it.
I want it.
But you need space for it because it's going to be like Berserk Part 2 because you're going to have a lot of hardcovers with that. Yeah. What? I'm so glad you didn't drop that Bendis shit. I was hoping you didn't because there's a Bendis book in there this month and it's stop.
Yeah,
don't say it.
Don't
promote it. Don't say it.
It's all right. It's on the Slack for those for those lucky enough to be on there.
There you go.
Bendis dick.
Yes. Woo. And guess what, people? Big hugs. We have another patron who joined the fray. Yes. A big thank you. And where you been, brother? To Mr. David Rogers.
Yes, sir.
Join the EOC family. And thank you very much. We love you. We hope you find what we give you to be a good return on your investment. And if you would like to see what all this patron hubbub is about, go to patreon.com/11 o'clock comics. And you will learn some stuff.
And a little post 11 O'Clockers patron follow-up. We did a drawing on the episode where we gave a $50 gift certificate to Cheap Graphic Novels to Patrick DeLira. And I mentioned on the show when we drew his name that he was a former patron and it was good to see him voting. And I'm a dope because I never realized that Patrick on our Slack is the one and only Patrick DeLira. So never stops being a patron. So all good. But he received his.
We don't see last names sometimes.
No, I know. Yeah, he received his gift credit today. He told me, so we're all set.
Oh, so we're all kind of dumb because we didn't know it. Not only you for not knowing it instantly, but we didn't correct you because we didn't.
Yeah, all good.
We're all
good.
All idiots. Yes,
all good.
All right. Well, I needed to drink, so. I have a
feeling alcohol abuse is going to go way up.
I think so. And medical marijuana. I am drinking from Dogfish Head a 60-minute IPA, which will be followed by 2 90-minute IPAs.
Woo! That's a lot of IPAs.
I don't have any 120s. So
okay.
Would have just started with them, but yeah.
Yes. I am drinking Nature's Promise organic grapefruit flavored sparkling water.
Slow down.
Yeah, I know.
Such a bummer when he's off the wagon. I will tell you, I do not know what this is because I figured, you know what? Story time. There is a bottle on the shelf that it's my infinity bottle. And for anybody who's not aware, an infinity bottle is a decanter that you fill with the last swallow, the last shot glass full of whatever bourbon you're currently drinking. You just keep adding whatever bottles you have. You just add to the infinity bottle. So this is a mixture of I don't know what.
Huh.
So yeah, and this way it's your own blend. So I mean, it
right?
Could be,
no, I know, but yeah. But how does it taste? I'm saying now that you're tasting, like, what is it? Is it satisfying?
It's good. Oh no, it is.
I could see it being good because perfect. You only buy shit you like, right? You're not going to buy trash. So yeah,
right. Generally, yeah. That didn't necessarily everything will blend well together, but yeah, no, and it's perfect for tonight because it's like 12 fucking degrees out. It was 5 this morning, but Oh yeah, this is good. This is good. I apologize in advance for any sloppiness that happens tonight.
Oh, slappy tappy.
Wow. There we go. So we're going to start talking about comics because that's what we do. And guess what?
Yes.
We had a little bit of...
Boy.
We set up a little game. Another one of them things we like to do. We're going back to the well with the single shuffle this week. What is the single shuffle, you ask? Well, I'll tell you. We each pick a single issue. Doesn't matter if it's the first in the run, the middle, or the last. If it's a one-shot, whatever. If it's a single issue, we bring it to the table, and all three of us have to read it and talk about it. It's a fun game. It leads down some...
It can be a fun game.
Yeah, it leads down some crazy-ass roads. Anybody want to start this bad boy off? Or
Yes, I will start, yes.
Okay.
Damn, it's going to take a second.
First of all, I love you both, they're like brothers, so let me apologize in advance. And just get that out of the way. It's important, we're all, a lot of people listening are parents. I've always thought one of the most important things about being a parent is knowing when to apologize, right? And say, my bad, it's on me. Now, the point of this is, in part, because we did this once before, where Vince got a little irked because he felt like Dap and I, specifically picked issues we knew would be a certain kind of thing. And
you skewed it, yeah. Dap kind of skewed it this time, too. No, I gotta I gotta be honest. I kind of skewed it, too.
I was going to say, it seems like this time you skewed it, because you picked...
No,
anyway,
Dap loves that series he brought to the table.
I know,
he loves it.
I went completely random. I went into...
That's the goal, to do it completely random.
Yeah.
And the way to do it for me, I did it the last time we did this too. I have a crap ton of comics in the Humble Bundle archive library. You know that, and admittedly, I rarely go into the Humble Bundle because it's its own little file folder or whatever that they have. But there's just crazy amounts of comics in there because the Humble Bundles are great, and you click that little buy button, you almost forget, or at least I forget sometimes all the stuff I have.
Same.
Yeah. So I said, okay, Vince wants to do a single shuffle. I'm going to go into the Humble Bundle and pick something from there. Now, to be clear, a lot of Humble Bundle stuff is collections, right? So I guess I could have picked something, picked a collection and then picked an issue from that collection. But I thought, no, you know what? Let's see what I got for single issues in here, and I'll do a little random pick. That random pick ended up being John Wick #3. Published by Dynamite, and this was from I'm just looking for the year, 2018, because I think they've put out a couple different John Wick series, but this is the John Wick 2018. We start off right when you look at the creative team. It's written by Greg Pak. Respect.
Yeah, Planet Hulk.
Planet Hulk. I mean, a man who he's got his own little wing of the EOC.
What's the other thing? Mech Cadet, right?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mechadet
U. Yeah. Then I saw the art, and I had never seen this person draw a comic before, but I actually know this person's art. In fact, I have commission from this person from probably a Heroes, I think, way back in the day. Mr. Matt Guadio. And then colors by Inlight Studios, lettered by Tom Napolitano, and edited by Anthony Marquez. That's where the praise ends for this book, people. That's where the praise ends. When we talk about licensed comics, right? Historically, I think that there's a pejorative tone to that. I think they've come a long way. Things like the Energon universe, right? We've had a lot of really good licensed comics in recent years. This was very much the former. This was the stereotype. A very uninteresting, by the numbers, effectively scene from what would be another John Wick movie. And again, Matt, if you happen to listen to this, as I said, I have commission from you. I like the commission a lot, but I don't know how much sequential work Matt had done before this, but this was stiff. It was stiff and heavily photoshopped, and not a lot of creativity with the layouts or the structure of the panels or the movement of the characters. It was really very much, I think, what you would consider stereotypical licensed comics as a turnoff. And while Greg Pak is a very good writer, or at least he has written stuff we've loved, I think I don't want to play armchair psychologist, but this felt, after reading it, like he was taking the check. because I don't know that like I got anything distinctive from his voice in this either. Basically, in this number 3 issue, we're in the midst of John Wick fighting some ne'er-do-wells. In this case, they're Southerners, or at least dressed like cowboys. There's some flashback scenes where there is a female who was, I guess, their leader named Calamity. I assume some play on Calamity Jane. We see her in the flashback pull out a missile launcher and blow up and kill 53 people, which is why Wick's got an issue with these people now. Basically, he does Wick things. He crashes his car. He kills all these people, and eventually it leads to the survivors trying to find Calamity, who's away in a psychological hospital. Basically, their cliffhanger here is that they found her, and I presume they're going to take her out of the hospital and have her try and go wild and out and kill John Wick. Even the way I'm describing it there sounds more exciting and engaging than I felt actually reading this. I thought it was a total flaccid experience. And I hate to say that, but got to keep it 100. And again, the whole point of this is random experiences. And I will be gobsmacked if, now that I cede the floor to you two gentlemen, if you disagree.
Yeah, it was a struggle. Yeah, but you know what? As an art monkey, I understand how difficult it is to rely on reference. Yeah, especially when you have a title character as high profile as John Wick. Mm-hmm. So it's very hard to tread that line between likeness and imparting your own visual style upon the line. It's almost a losing battle. Like we always go through that list. There was, in the annals of comic book history, there's only been a handful of guys who ever got it right. Mort Drucker, Jack Davis, unfortunately, Matt is not of that caliber, at least right here. And so the Wick's facial features would, like, in one panel looks like my buddy Mike. And Dowdy? Yeah, he does. Looks like Dowdy in one panel, like early on in the book. And then there's one panel where he's saying Calamity, and that doesn't look like John Wick's eyes at all. Like, it's just weird. But it's an uphill battle. I understand. It's hard to do this. Yeah, it was rough. It was rough. There's not a whole lot of backgrounds anywhere, and when there are backgrounds, they're very heavily augmented by Photoshop textures and stuff. So I didn't enjoy it.
And also nitpick, but something that really I was like, this takes place in El Paso, Texas, and certainly throughout the evolution of the Wick universe, we've seen that there are plenty of continental hotels, not just in New York. But there's a Continental El Paso, which, okay, like, I think we're stretching it a little bit that there would be a Continental in El Paso, Texas. But okay, fair enough. Let's say there is. But then Wick walks into the El Continental, and who is there but Mr. Charon at the front desk? Why in the fuck would Charon be at the hotel in El Paso when he is the head of the, second in command of the one in New York? Like, it's just the whole, it just felt so, like, lazy, right? Like,
shoehorned.
He's gonna walk. Yeah, he's gonna walk in the Continental, so of course he's gonna see Charon. Like, it's like, it just was struggle bus entirely. Yeah. Oh yes, his twin. Yeah,
did you say struggle bus?
Maybe it was Zaron.
Right. Yeah. Did you make that up, or is that a thing? Struggle bus.
Oh no, that's not. No, I didn't. Yeah, I didn't.
I like it. Struggle bus.
What do you think, Dad? Tell us why we were wrong.
Oh no, you're not wrong. I read the series when it was coming out.
You did? This particular series?
Yeah, I remember reading. I definitely talked about the first. Maybe I talked about the first issue, and that may have been it because I remember this issue. Once I started reading it, I was like, yeah, this feels. So
was this the first familiar. John Wick? Was this the first John Wick by Dynamite then?
Yes. Okay. Yes. And I too have a commission from Matt. I picked it up at New York Comic Con.
Maybe it was New York then. Yeah, it was probably New York.
It's a commission of Miles and Peter, but Miles from the first Spider-Verse movie, so it's that outfit. I don't remember though if that was before or after this comic. But yeah, no, everything. Yeah, I can't add anything to it. I mean, there wasn't. You're right. The whole El Paso thing, and then we get towards the end of the issue, and I'm like, Continental. Yeah, they really. They just. I kind of. I have no idea how the series ends because I'm pretty sure I finished it, but I don't. I couldn't tell you.
Well, I'm guessing
what happened in the 2 issues before it. So
yeah, I'm guessing they get Calamity out of the insane asylum, and she and John Wick go at it, and she nearly kills John Wick.
Yes,
in the end, that would be my guess. Right.
That's pretty much it. Yeah, it was. This is what I think about really. This is when someone says Dynamite. This is the kind of output that for good or bad, this is what I kind of expect from Dynamite. And I know we haven't. They've definitely improved because I flipped through the first issue of Zootopia and that had a lot going on, and there was obviously, you know, Vince we know Vince loves that Burroughs book that Willingham writes with the really good art. So Dynamite can
the duck books are good, I think.
Yeah, I mean
that's the thing. I think they finally tuned the licenses, which is really weird.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, although I haven't tried Terminator yet, and I want to, not just because Declan's writing
it was out.
Because it is
the first one.
Oh,
that was out.
Okay,
yeah,
all right then. So yeah, but yeah, no, I didn't need to revisit this, so thank you for that. But no, it was that's what the single shuffle's all about.
Yeah,
and look, and to be fair, it isn't even like I mean I am absolutely beating up on Dynamite here, but in the back of the issue, you see the dispatch there, basically their version of stuff that are coming out from them, and the book they're highlighting in that is James Bond 007 #1, which is written by Greg Pak, but also art by our boy Mark Laming. So I mean, you know, like. And then if you look further down, there's a Mars Attacks #2, which is written by Kyle Starks and art by Chris Schweitzer, which was a super fun series, as I recall, and looked great.
They were great.
You know, so like they had books that were even then they had books that were like quality books. It's just this ain't it. That's all.
Nice. There you go. Well, let's keep the Dynamite train a rolling.
I know Dynamite-orama almost
because I brought a Dynamite book. It was co-written by Alex Segura and Henry Barajas, with art by Federico Soresa. The colorist is Leslie Atlansky, and it is Green Hornet Miss Fury #1.
And that Jay Lee cover is to die for.
He kills.
His covers are so fucking good for Dynamite. Like, I mean, it seems like he does 20 of them a month, but like they're always like the thing I remember most about Dynamite books.
You know, all of these covers are very good. The Francavilla cover's good.
True.
I think there's something to admire about all of them. There's not a whole lot of heavy lifting with this book since it's the first issue.
True.
You get a little bit of backstory on Britt Reed, a.k.a. the Green Hornet, how he was saved by a superhero called the Silver Shrike and became his he mentored under the Silver Shrike. And we are now in a period where someone is knocking off supers, killing capes. And it's a reluctant team-up between Marla Drake, a.k.a. Miss Fury, and Britt Reed. They get in a sticky situation and manage to get out of it thanks to the real hero. A Green Hornet fan knows that the real hero, the one that should be admired, is really Kato.
Yeah.
In almost every instance, Kato saves Reed's ass. Almost always. It was like that on the show. It's like that in the comics.
Can I interrupt just for a second? Ask you a question. Is like I know we've talked about Green Hornet a little bit before and stuff, but like, is he always a clown? Like, is that part of his shtick? Like that he's a bumbler?
Yes and no. I just think he in a lot of ways he's inept. I think it depends. Some writers will portray him a little bit on the mean side, like they get a little bit of the ultra vigilante, and then others like this, you know, more playboy than superhero, and it's hard to balance it. Like, he's rich, or the family's rich anyway, right? So there's a Batman angle to it a little bit. Yeah, I love the Green Hornet, but I don't think I would like to go into a scrap with him.
Right.
Like,
okay.
I'd rather have Kato by my side. 100%. And it's just you get a little bit of that Marla shadow type where the Marla, Drake, and Britt Reed are at a social gathering, and he's not entirely sure, but he assumes, or he gets the air of that maybe she's Miss Fury. Like, there's something that's reminding me of, that ghost of that character that I just struggled with in combat. But she pretty much knows right from the get-go that he's Green Hornet. But she doesn't say it. She makes, she casts illusions, and she'll say little coy things that reveal to us that she knows exactly who he is. But I thought, out of the 3 issues, I thought mine was the best. Got to be honest.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I would
to be
agree.
fair, I mean,
yeah,
I thought it was it's a low bar, but I agree.
It's slight, but it's a first issue. We're just getting the mystery rolling. I think Soresa's art is great. He really has the feeling for the pulp genre, because there's a lot of grit to the line work where it looks a little bit.
I didn't know if it was his credit or the color, but like there's like a matty, pulpy, sort of like muted color.
There's a texture,
like
a lot of texture.
Texture, right.
Yeah,
right.
And I'm thinking,
and I like that. It does work really well. Yeah,
it almost looks like a little bit of Conti crayon, or almost like I don't want to say a grease pencil, but there's like a very dappled pointillistic texture to some of the stuff. I think it works great, and it nails the time period, right? I thought it was fun.
That's my question. When is
it's definitely post World War II for this? I would say like 40s,
because some of the phrases,
early 50s,
in their conversations. Maybe? Okay, all right, which is, I mean, based on some of the conversations with the pop culture references at the time, but there's some other phrases like I don't know who, and granted, it's not like it's been said for decades, but I don't really know who back then may have been saying 4-dimensional chess. It's an odd thing.
Well, that's odd. Yeah, that stuck out like a sore thumb. But
yeah. So I mean, I wasn't sure if it was a modern telling or if it was still.
It could be. I mean, you from the architecture and the interior design.
Talking about old-timey baseball players. So
yeah,
it's weird.
Yeah, you could. I really don't know. I think the fight sequences are very well choreographed. Sure. Yeah, there's the panels are nicely composed. The drawing is kicking. I thought it was fun. It doesn't revolutionize the pulp genre or the superhero. Mm-hmm. Like, there's really nothing. It's a very well constructed first issue to a licensed characters that are licensed. Like, it's fine. I shouldn't have said that. It's good. Because it's not. I don't think it's mediocre. I think it's a little bit to the right of mediocre. It's in the dial, but it's.
I think this is where just my lack of interest in this set of characters and pulpy stuff just worked. Like, I would have said it was fine. Like it didn't. It's much better than the book I picked, no doubt. But I have no interest in reading issue number 2.
You don't think Miss Fury's like super hot?
I think she looks like a Catwoman ripoff, which I know she's not.
Exactly.
She probably existed before Catwoman, but I mean, I didn't know anything about the character, and I'm watching this and thinking, oh, it's Catwoman. I'm like, okay, like, cool. I mean, that's fine.
I would have to say that Catwoman existed before, but the original Catwoman was not in all black. She had that green shit going on or whatever, and
that purple dress.
I think Miss Fury's from I would guess late mid 40s. Early 40s, mid 40s, around there. I have the reprints. I can get the date.
1941, Vince.
Yeah, there you go. So she does not precede Catwoman, right? Because
Catwoman appeared as the Black Fury on April 6, 1941.
Okay, because Catwoman's what? Catwoman was probably 40, 39, 40.
Oof. Yeah, 1940. Very good.
There you
Yep,
go.
just right
Yeah.
a year before. Yeah.
So she missed it just by a year, but I definitely think Marla's super hot.
Right on. Yeah.
So there you go.
Yeah, I'm not mad at this one. I was mad at myself, but I'm not mad at you.
I don't have the I do have humble bundles I can go through, but unlike Jason, I didn't approach it that way. I do have a short box of random issues for when the single shuffle is brought up that I just grab something from. So this was random. Yes, I have, because I've talked about this series before from time to time, but it's not like I was like, oh shit, yeah, I finally have, this is my chance to shine. I picked Justice Machine number 8 because that's what I can hand land it on, and I had no idea that this was the parental advisory issue. But this is
watching you.
That's it, man. Justice Machine was a series that had seen a few publishers in its during its rise and fall. This is actually volume 2. After having a few issues from Noble Comics and in Texas Comics in 1983, but Kamiko started publishing the book in 1986. Justice Machine number 8 has a cover date of August 1987. It is written by Tony Isabella, and Mike Kostovich, the series creator, is the penciler, with Bill Anderson as your special guest inker on the issue. Bob Pinha on letters. Tom Vincent is your colorist, and Matt Wagner's sister-in-law is your editor-in-chief. You have the team, the Justice Machine, consists of Challenger, who's the team leader, Blazer, who's basically like Firestar, Titan, who is Goliath, Demon, who at the time was kind of like a Wolverine, Diviner, who not necessarily an empath, but she's able to sense. She can. There's some paranormal ability here. This issue really doesn't delve into anybody's powers. It's kind of a weird issue. There's Talisman, who dresses like a Mandrake the Magician, and then there's and that's the team in this particular issue. The reason it has a parental guidance suggested warning on the cover is because this issue deals with withdrawal, drug use and withdrawal, and Tony Isabella, the issue writer, puts out a big old 1-page forward at the beginning of the issue, explaining why. And at the time, and again, is the late 80s, mid to late 80s. You can, it's I'm not going to say it was a weird time, but this was his explanation. I mean, seeing Isabella write about it, it's almost like, he's warning retailers like it's a Mike Deanna comic book. It's not that serious. I mean, at the time maybe, but as time went on, there were much more dark. I mean, if you're putting this next to Brat Pack, I think we know which issue might draw the ire of a parent more.
Or even like Hard Traveling Heroes. Well,
that's what I was thinking. I was thinking Denny O'Neil and Stan did it much better.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. But it's. I mean, we start off the issue with Demon chained up because he's the drug he's been using, Edge, which basically kind of aided him in his powers with his speed and his agility and his stamina. Because he's a great martial artist, but that's basically it. So Edge was basically like his steroids, and it enhanced his abilities. But like steroids, it obviously makes him irrational and unstable, and he's threatening Challenger and Diviner, and he attacks both, gets put down, and then we get a flashback where Demon and Diviner and Challenger were married at one point. They're divorced now, but that didn't stop Demon from getting with her, which Challenger really doesn't care. That's kind of his whole attitude. But once Demon is sedated and in the care of doctors, he starts not necessarily. There's a when Talisman comes to visit him and check on his friend, he actually, the idiot, loosens. He takes the restraints off of Demon, and then Demon just starts hauling ass on the dude. And
Can I interject for a second?
Please do.
I love how he has no costume in the fucking on
Yes.
the gurney, and then 2 seconds later he rips out of the gurney and he's
That's
got a
what
costume
I'm
on.
thinking. This is all just this is a fever dream. I'm like,
Where
this isn't really happening.
Does he have a flash ring or something that he
Hilarious.
can?
I know.
Well, I don't know if you guys know, but everybody dies, old man. You knew that.
True. It's true.
Just in case Tony may put it on 2 different pages, just in case you did it the first time.
The creator of Black Lightning, everybody. So we have it's Talisman gets beat up and practically not quite left for dead. Demon makes his way through a bunch of he calls them shitheads, but a bunch of armed guards, only for Titan and Blazer to try to stop him. They don't fare very well. Great teamwork, folks. And then you have Challenger and the basically the mayor or the governor of New Atlantis, who's trying to stop Demon. Demon doesn't stop and keeps going, fighting Challenger. They're fighting each other, going back and forth. Is able to finally put him down with a charge that basically kind of just stops his heart temporarily, and he's back in the hospital room in costume this time. But then he strips naked and leaves the hospital room, makes his way out into the beach, leaves the team a note, because he's saying that he's just going to swim to New York City. It's only about 2,000 miles, and he leaves a note, and he says, and he's thinking to himself, I can't wait to see their faces when I stroll up out of that ocean and onto that beach. And then he doesn't get very far. He starts swimming. It's a 9-panel grid. He goes under. The last panel is all in black with a quote in white text, and then the next page is the letters page. So it's basically the end of the Demon with this issue. So don't do drugs, kids. Don't do drugs, because you're going to end up going for a swim and you'll get pulled
and dying of
under,
appendicitis.
That's all she wrote. I'm pretty sure this was a lot more exciting and riveting when I was much younger. When I read this the first time.
Yeah.
Some things just don't age. Not everything from Kamiko was a home run. Not everything could be Grendel or Mage. Not everything could be Elementals. And there were some. I mean, John Byrne had a hand with Justice Machine at one point. There were some fun and entertaining Justice Machines. This is one of them, but there were some entertaining stories with Justice Machine. This is not the issue that you'd give to somebody to say, hey, here's some wacky off the wall group you've never heard of before. Give this a shot. It's I don't know. I probably should have put the issue back and kept digging for something else, but
that's the way it works.
Play what you lay, and so so this is what we got. But yeah, I agree. As far as the most fully fleshed and enjoyable issue of the 3, it was definitely Green Hornet and Miss Fury. But yeah, it was this doesn't make me want to go back and read. Normally, when we finish a single shuffle, whatever issue we're reading, whatever comics we're all talking about, like I want to kind of continue it or see where it's going from here. And I'm good with giving Justice Machine a pass for another 5-6 years.
As you were recounting the details of this issue, I re-experienced the pain that I felt upon first reading. you know, yes, Isabella had an uphill battle here because Demon is not a very sympathetic character.
Yes.
And
Or around the bitch word too, like would never fly today's day.
but there's not even a like even with all right, I like Logan and there's a lot about Logan that is admirable and that can be seen as something, you know, Demon has none of that. He's just a junkie in withdrawal. And the one panel, there was a couple panels in there that I just have to laugh. It's like, who's the blonde that he had the affair with? Diviner. He's talking about Diviner like, she hates all men. I'm surprised, blah, blah, blah. And then a couple panels later, he's like, I guess she doesn't like me. And he's like regretting the fact that she doesn't like, wait, dude, you know, you're a man, right? You just said that she hates all men. Like he's inconsistent, almost like an unreliable narrator. He doesn't make a whole lot of sense. And then he's just flat out dumb because his heart stopped and he was brought back to life. And he's like, yeah, I still got it. I'm going to swim 2,000 miles. No, you're not. You're going to get about maybe 4 and then whoop, sink like a stone. And I love it. The quote to memorialize him, there is no death, only a change of worlds. Oh, good Lord. I'm reading this thing. Oh, help me, Jesus.
Help me, I'm coming.
Yeah. I mean, I've seen Gustovich look much better.
Yes. Yeah, I don't know if this was Anderson's inking.
Yeah,
it
looks rushed.
It was just off, but
faces were shifted, and one kid. I know that the guy with the white mask.
Badstovich.
The guy with the white mask.
Titan.
I know he's a big dude, but
yeah.
The woman standing next to him in that one panel, she looks like a hobbit. She's a hobbit. She got a tight little ass, but she's she's definitely a little person.
Out there looking like Satnam Singh.
Now, we shouldn't make fun of her, but yeah, yes, maybe that's the whole point of this exercise to get our jollies in. But yeah, I mean, I don't think there was any world shakers at all in this go round.
Nah, there were no bangers,
but that's okay. Nah. It happens.
It was fun though. Like you said, we have there's no need to like pull punches. There's not that we ever do, but I mean we could just have a little haterade session. Like it was fine.
But it's not even haterade. It's like
it's just it's your thoughts on. I mean, and so unlike our books of the month, I had read the John Wick issue. It was my first time reading the Green Hornet issue. I know Jason's never read this issue of Justice Machine or any, probably.
No.
You didn't read it, Vince, back in the day?
I actually think I have this, but I've never read it. Like I have a bunch of Justice Machine that I don't know, just never read them.
Yeah, they're easy to obtain. I mean, you can definitely find them in there.
And the only reason why I bought them was because back in the day there was like I think it was a GURPS supplement that the role playing game, they did a supplement on Justice Machine. I'm like, well, if there's a game supplement based on the team must be pretty good, right? So whenever I saw random issues, I would just pick them up.
Right.
Yeah.
Nice.
So there you go, single shuffle. Better luck next time. Oh, we got a soundboard for that. We don't have to do that. All right. Can I bring it up? Elevate the elevator.
Yeah,
because there were 2 first issues this week that just completely floored me. And they came totally out of the blue. Mm-hmm. Do you want horror, or do you want? Oh, it's kind of horror too. Do you want
some horrors in this house?
You want straight horror, or do you want sci-fi, horror tinged sci-fi?
Let's do straight horror first.
Okay.
So we end with
straight horror first. This is a book from Boom. Written by Gus Moreno. Illustrated by Jakob, could be Jacob, but I'm going to go with Jakob Rebelka. I talked about this dude's work. Remember Cyberpunk?
Yes.
We just, it can't be
Yeah.
more than 10, 15 episodes ago. Love this man's work. That's why I read this issue in the first place. That's what drew me to this issue. Letters by Becca Carey. It is called When I Lay My Vengeance Upon Thee.
Great name.
Yes. It's a tale involving two priests. One, Father Michael Barrera, just happened to drown an infant while performing the baptismal rite.
Damn.
Yeah. And so he was incarcerated, removed from his position, and just hidden away, sequestered he's in a cell when the book opens, and he's reliving the baptismal, and you can't really tell whether he drowned the child on purpose. It didn't look accidental to me. So maybe, I'm guessing, okay, what priest willingly ends the life of an infant? So I'm thinking maybe he detected something within the child, and in order to squelch that evil, he ended the child's life. Because this book is about possession. Okay? And Father Manuel has it looks like he has a hair lip. Or he did at one point, and he had surgery. Because he has a scar from his nostril to his lip. It's very pronounced. And Rebelka makes you very aware that this man's facial features are a little bit off, right? So then you have Father Merrick Stygian. Yes, the guy's name is Father Stygian. And he's an exorcist. And I guess the point of the first issue, there are events in this first issue that show you that Father Merrick Stygian is very resourceful and has very odd tools at his disposal. He goes to visit this young girl who was seemingly, to all intents and purposes, everyone thought she was possessed. So he gets to the door, and a priest, Father Bartel, answers the door, and he's like, "Whoa, I'm here to see, the young lady. Is she still? Have we ended her torment?" And Father Bartel was, "Oh, here's the deal. You know what? She just needed meds, because as soon as we got some psych meds on her, all that stuff went away, and she's normal now." And so Father Stygian's like, okay. Long story short, the Father Bartel, the one that was overseeing this young lady, whatever it was that had possessed the young woman, had leapt into him. So now he was possessed. So Stygian injects him with a muscle relaxer and does his little exorcism. But he has carries around a jar of this crimson, blood-like concoction. Don't know what, I mean, later on in the issue we get a hint of what's in it, maybe, but and he draws a sigil on the man's hand, and the demon just like flees his body. So number one, Stygian's very resourceful, very capable, but he's getting up in age. And during the skirmish, the demon within Bartel throws Stygian against the wall. And so he's hospitalized. And while he's in the hospital, he's visited by a cardinal. And he's like, "Okay, Stygian, you may be good, but you're declining. Your age is catching up to you. Here's the deal. I'm gonna saddle you with an apprentice." And he's like, "Oh, okay. Who do you think the apprentice is?" Father Barrera, who has, he's like, the cardinal goes to see him too. And he offers him maybe a path to atonement by serving as this the capacity of an exorcist. The issue is pretty amazingly paced, because you get the backstory. It seems like there's more pages than what there were, because there's a lot of story packed in this thing. And the reason why the concoction that Father Stygian carries around, he goes to see a young woman in a hospital, and to my eyes, she's comatose. She's on life support, and he says to the nurse, "I'll only be a second. I just want to pay my respects and see her." He goes in and he takes blood from her, and he puts the blood. He dumps the blood in this little circular case thing that he carries around. And then later in the story, he's mixing that blood with something. And it's really cool. It's a trick employed by many horror filmmakers today, where something appears in the background for a second, and you're like, "Did I see that? Was that a thing in the background?" They do that in this issue because Father Stygian's at the table and he's mixing his little concoction, and it turns out that his previous assistant hung himself on a tree within the confines of his little compound. So he's mixing this thing up, mixing it up, and you see there's a window behind him, and in one panel you see the tree, and the next panel you see his assistant swinging from a noose, and then it's gone. It just like. So there are ghosts in this, like both physical and spiritual, right? Both of these guys are haunted by something, right? The Father Stygian had lost an assistant. Father Barrera murdered a baby, and I'm wondering whether the murder was. If murder can be justified, was he right in but I'm sure it'll unfold. Lots of questions. I have lots of questions about this. There's talk of the old ways returning. I think the demon possession at the hands of Mr. Rebelka is amazing. I mean, that distorted twist on reality that Rebelka has. You all saw the Cyberpunk. It's a visual treat, but I think there's a lot of meat on the bones here. It's a horror series, so you got me when you're talking demonic possession and exorcist. Like, I'm in. I'm in. One thing, he draws a possessed woman a little bit too close to Linda Blair in The Exorcist for me. And as soon as I heard Father Merrick Stygian, I'm thinking, okay, so I guess we're, Merrick, Marin, I guess we're making the ties to the original Exorcists here, at least in sound, like a sound alike. But I mean, if you're going to tie something to a work that has exorcism as its core, The Exorcist is the thing to do it, right? So I don't know. I thought it was wonderful. It reads.
I'm glad you found a little gem.
It reads as good as it looks. Mm-hmm. But then you got to wonder, who's that girl in the hospital bed? Like, is there something special about her? What's so special about her blood that he uses it in exorcism? Was she a nun who suddenly, something very disastrous happened in her life and she's now comatose? And like, who is this girl? What happened at the baptismal with Father Barrera? Like, there's hooks. There's like Hellraiser. There's lots of hooks in this thing.
Hook it up.
Yeah, leave it to Boom.
Schlock, lock, boom.
That's right.
This is neither hits the mark for either one of you.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I literally didn't know it existed until you just talked about it.
I didn't either, but I keep tabs on my art peeps, and through the grapevine, I learned that Rebelka was on this. I was like, I don't care what it's about. I'm reading it. And Moreno's story is a great compliment to Rebelka's art.
Respect.
Yeah.
Some Ezekiel thrown in there.
But I got to say, I'll be totally honest. In the two books that I found very worthwhile this week, this one is second to the one I will talk about in a little while.
Okay.
Which was completely unexpected, and wow. Yeah.
Seeing who wrote that other one, I'm very interested because that would be a turnoff for me.
Yeah, so good. So good.
Interesting.
Keep it up.
Maybe dude's turned his career around. Because Scarlet Witch is good, too.
Scarlet Witch is really good.
Yeah.
I wish... I read the issue that came out today, or what's today, Wednesday? Yeah. I read the one that came out today. I really wish that they'd get someone else on the visuals.
I'm way behind on it, so I can't speak to it.
Story's great. I think I've never been more interested in Scarlet Witch than in the hands of Steve Orlando.
Nice.
Yeah, go. Take it with your snapping.
I have seen the cover of the first issue of Vengeance Upon Thee. I should have checked that.
First issue of what?
The one you just talked about.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's great. Creepy AF, just like I like it.
Looks creepy AF.
It's going to be even harder to find these books going forward, Vince, what with previews going away.
Yeah, but change is good, young man. You know?
True that.
It's interesting because I feel like Diamond going out of business was this boogeyman fear forever. And had this happened, and they may not be going out of business, but let's say they are for the sake of the conversation. But had this happened 5 years ago, the industry would be apoplectic about it. I'm impressed by how everyone's like, like the whole industry's like, oh, we're good. It's fine. Like, it's really quite remarkable, right? Like, you need to consider where Diamond was 5 years ago in terms of its importance to the direct market. And now, like, people are like, yeah, we're good. We're good.
Yes, but 5 years ago, we didn't have the pieces in place that we have today.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, that's what I mean, though. Like, it's pretty remarkable, right? Like, and by the way, they're part and parcel because Diamond wouldn't be going bankrupt if those pieces weren't in place.
Exactly. Yeah.
So.
Well, I mean, let's be honest. From what we've heard and seen, the service at Diamond was less than optimal over the years. Mm-hmm. And it was a problem because they were the only game in town. So retailers were pretty much stuck. When alternatives were offered, and those alternatives proved to be as good or better than Diamond service, then now Diamond has problems, and rightly so. Like, I've heard horror stories about Diamond from a variety of comic book retailers, and you know, to the most common complaint, I cringe at the even the sound of it was, Diamond shorted me on my order. Like, where's my issue of this low printed miniseries from a very obscure publisher? Oh, Diamond shorted me on my order. We'll see if it comes in next week, and you just never get it, right? And I heard horror stories of copies that would arrive at the store mangled. I visually saw, or I shouldn't say that. That's really stupid. I experienced first person Dave from Comics on the Green going through his Diamond box and taking out issues that were damaged. This one's good. This one's damaged. This one's damaged. This one's damaged. This one's good. This one's good. Damaged, damaged, damaged. It's like, how do you operate a store when you have to deal with shit like that? You know, and yes, he would get credit for them, but you have people that depend that, comic book fans, not exactly flexible in a lot of things.
If you got screwed out of issue 8 of a series that I've been collecting, and Diamond's going to give you credit, but they can't guarantee that you're going to get
right. That's the dangers of the periodicals, right? Yep. If you're buying in installments, and one of those installments something happens, well, I think the onus is now on the consumer to find that, because Diamond is almost never going to replace it. But now we're talking. It's a new world. Who knows what's going to happen? I am a little bit sad that the catalog is going to go away, but I'm not that sad, because when I think about it, and you look at all the years that Diamond published that monster of a catalog, how many trees had to die for all those catalogs? It's like, let's kill all these trees to kill more trees to bring you more paper. It's just a waste. Like, at the advent of digital technology, when modem speeds started to creep up, Diamond should have killed the physical catalog a long time ago. I think that was an expense that added to their demise. And they were they probably were getting them for $1 or less a piece. I would say if they were smart and had a publisher that they've been using for many years, they're probably spending around 60 cents or less per catalog. And then they would charge, well, at least the cover price was $4.99. I've never paid for a previews, not cover price anyway. I've paid $1 and change for a previews, but I've never ever paid cover price for a previews.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah. I mean, the long and the short of it is, because I guess I'm assuming most people listening to us talk about this know what we're talking about, but Diamond declared Chapter 11 bankruptcy, which, again, we don't have to turn this into a business podcast, but that doesn't mean they're going out of business. Basically, it's a way for them to, with the help of a judge, restructure their finances with the idea of staying in business and getting out of mountains of debt. But for the sake of the conversation, and I as I've kind of seen how the dust has settled, I'm going to kind of say they're going out of business because, yes, they can restructure. Well, they can restructure, but in essence, because of the other things that are out there, most notably, alternative distributors, I think there's not going to be a business for Diamond to stay in. You know what I mean? Like they got to this point because of the, multi-year exodus that we've seen from their exclusive deals, most notably DC, right? Like DC left, obviously, and it was a big hullabaloo. When it happened, they just announced they were leaving, and then it was Lunar and Midtown Comics at the time were going to be co-distributors. Midtown quickly realized they weren't up to the task and dropped out. So Lunar effectively became the exclusive DC distributor, and then Marvel left for PRH, and then Image left for Lunar exclusively, and then a bunch more things happened, smaller publishers. But bottom line is Diamond's been steadily losing big chunks of their comic business and have become more and more reliant on selling things like toys and games and the like. So we were kind of waiting. Like it didn't make sense to me how Diamond was doing, was hanging in there because they lost over 60% of their comics business, which is just, it would seem very hard to soldier on. But,
yeah. And
anyway,
anybody who buys toys knows you don't get them from Diamond. Because their prices are way too high. Even after discount, the prices are just stupid high. Yeah. Yeah. So, they've announced that they are declaring bankruptcy, and Steve Jeppe, the owner of Diamond, there's a bunch of different companies, right? So and they're all different. What we think of as Diamond is really a collection of different companies. There's Diamond Gaming, there's Diamond UK, there's Diamond Comics Distributors, which is what we're talking about mainly. But they're all kind of rolled into one. And when they announced the bankruptcy, a company called Alliance, or rather not, Alliance is the gaming company part of Diamond. It was announced during the bankruptcy that Alliance Gaming was going to already be acquired or potentially acquired for I think $39 million stalking horse bid by a Canadian distributor who's already in the games business. That same Canadian distributor also had already signed a deal to acquire Diamond UK to handle the UK distribution of comics. And that's kind of where it stood for a bit. There was all this speculation, and now we've kind of seen the dust settle, and it looks like they are trying to sell the core Diamond business. Plenty of debate about what that's really worth, right? Because ultimately, you're buying the network, right? You're buying the distribution facilities. You're buying the customers, essentially. So the issue is, again, they should have sold themselves 5 years ago because most of these customers are already using other distributors now because they have no choice. So if you're a comic store, you're already using PRH every week. You're already using Lunar every week, and so basically, you need to wait and see if Lunar or PRH or this Canadian company get the licenses for these other comics that you care about. And if they do, then business as usual, right? Like business as usual. I actually reached out to Patrick Brower at Challengers about this when it happened, and he and Dow were like, yeah, no, we're good. 5 years ago, this would have been absolutely devastating to us, but he said, we buy the fewest amount of stuff from Diamond that we can. The only thing we buy are those few publishers that were still exclusive to them, and some gaming and toys. He said, but he was very confident that
those exclusive comics either would get moved to another distributor or, frankly, would go away, and they're just because they don't sell enough to like it's not that important to their business if they go away. And he was already getting DC, Image, and Marvel from other places, and so he was like, "Yeah, we're good." Like it's like again, we like 5 years ago we had one system to order everything. We use their software, but now we use Shopify. We use different distribution software. We use different mail carriers. Like we're not reliant on them anymore, and so we're fine. It's interesting because Brian Hibbs, who is of course Mr. Tilting at Windmills, he has been probably the most ardent opponent of Lunar because he hates the idea of doing business with who he views as his competitor. And honestly, those complaints fall on deaf ears. I did hear from Christina, and Christina said that from her vantage, the vast majority of North American comic stores already work with Lunar, she said. And so it really isn't going to change how they do business. It may mean that they pick up more exclusive publishers, they work with more publishers, but that would just be additive to their existing process. It's not like their process has to really change from this. Just probably means more volume for them. And she really wasn't sweating it either, and didn't really see it as a very disruptive change to the industry. All in all, unless you're a store that's really reliant on gaming. In this case, this is probably a bigger deal. So, yeah, man. So it's just kind of weird. Like it's like Diamond kind of died a slow death. Yeah. Like and died in such a way that it really doesn't like you're seeing all these crazy takes I think online and in the comic about. Is this the end of the direct market? And no, it's not. Like, really, the direct market, as I understand it, isn't going to change much at all unless you're a store who bit off your nose to spite your face and refused to work with Lunar because you just thought it wasn't right, and so now you're stuck. Like, if you're one of those stores, and there aren't many of them, you're in trouble. Or you're going to have to finally suck it up and work with Lunar. But if you're every other store, which is most of them, this is just business as usual, man. Like, you just, okay, who do I need to order from now? Like, it's just... So, yeah.
I hope wherever the wind blows, whatever direction the wind blows, I hope that indie publishers find a bigger and more welcoming space at whatever distributor rises to the top. Because that's the one thing about previews or Diamond that was problematic for small publishers. If you didn't meet a minimum order for a number of months, they wouldn't carry your books anymore. And that killed a lot of small publishers. The Diamond Previews catalog used to have publishers in there you haven't seen in there for years and years and years because they just didn't meet them. Like, I'm of the opinion that even if it's like 5 copies, how much harder is that to... You're at least making these publishers visible, giving them a chance to find a foothold. But I know you're paying someone to take a book 5 times from the bin of this publisher and put it in somebody's box, and you're probably losing out a minuscule amount of money in doing so. But you're introducing this publisher to potential buyers, right? And I don't know how business works. I'm just very endeared. I have a big space in my heart for small-time publishers. I want to see them do well, and they should be afforded the same exposure and the same care as the larger publishers. I know that's not how the real world works.
Yeah.
I know, but it's nice, and it would be awesome for that to happen. So whoever gets the baton, it would be awesome to see this happen. Number 2, I think Christina should buy a couple of giant offset printers.
For real, though.
Build a structure around them. And not only distribute the books, but print them there, too. That would be the best case scenario. That would be the ultimate, because then somebody from the print department would dolly over a pallet of X-Men, whatever, pack them up, send them out. Like, that'd be amazing for her. I don't know if she has the wherewithal to do it, but that's what you have to do with those giant printers. You really have to build a structure around the printers because they're massive. But wouldn't that be cool? Like, that's a golden opportunity. You're quiet.
Absolutely, man. No, I 100% agree with you. I think.
And then after a couple months, she makes enough bank. She buys some land overseas in Great Britain, build another printer structure there. start kicking them out for the European market.
Yeah.
Boom, boom.
Now, it is worth saying that we have seen some like publishers come out and react to this publicly. American Mythology said basically they're probably going to go to business.
Oh no!
No, I know. But, you know, but
no more
people
Three
with jobs
Stooges.
written-
What?
Yes.
Yeah, but, okay, but I mean, let's.
No,
let's have
I
some
hate to
these
shit on a
people.
publisher, but
Yeah,
American
these are publishers
Mythology,
who-
by and large, their books are dookie.
I understand,
Whatever.
but there are people here that that means their jobs and their livelihood. But they're going in business not because of any kind of like they're going in business like many people in bankruptcy because they are a creditor to Diamond, and they're owed a couple months of inventory. And these small publishers they're not rich. Most publishers that are in the back of previews are not wealthy endeavors. They
No.
basically are living paycheck to paycheck, cash flow to cash flow, and so these small publishers are the ones that are really going to get screwed here because if Diamond owes them for 2-3 months of books they've already delivered and they don't get that money, well then they're pretty screwed. They can't afford to keep the doors open. So American Mythology,
yeah, I see it as this way: as long as the American Mythology creative teams have been paid, the risk is on the publisher. If a publisher deems a work viable to maybe we're going to make some money on this, unfortunately, you're not. Like that's on the publisher. But as long as the people who wrote and drew and colored and lettered those books got paid, whatever. I mean, that's what
right, we don't know if they have been. I mean,
right. That's the bad part. I would love to see those people have been paid. Like the publisher, that's a risky endeavor to begin with. Publishing these days, what? But yeah.
Massive Publishing also said that they're hurting from this, but they basically I guess they use this as a clause to break their exclusivity with Diamond. I presume they'll be working with Lunar soon or somebody else. As part of these proceedings, because it's all legally discoverable. There was in the filings, it was they had to list. You know, when you declare bankruptcy, you have to list all the people you owe money to, and it was interesting. Like they owe PRH $9 million.
Oof.
Which
That's not chump
is
change.
it's a big number. Now for
Yeah.
PRH is a massive company, so they're fine with it one way or the other. It's not like an affect PRH as a company, but that's because, and again, this gets, and I blame, and as much as like you know who's to blame for all that?
Oh.
These stores that refuse to work with Lunar, because the reason that PRH is and Diamond owes the money to PRH and these other places is because when the exclusivity broke and some people didn't want to work with Lunar, they were able to basically use a middleman of a middleman, which is that Diamond became a customer of Lunar, right, and ordered books from Lunar for Image and DC and other comics, and then you could order from Diamond. Now that was ridiculously dumb to do if you're a store owner because you're not getting any kind of discount of like whatever discount you were getting or you would get direct from Lunar, you're getting much less by having to order through a middleman. But some of these people were like, "Oh, I don't want to deal with Lunar," and now that, as a result, has led to some of these publishers being owed lots of money from Diamond. Now, again, that'll all get worked out. PRH is going to be fine, right? Like, I'm sure they care about $9 million, but it's not going to change their going concern, right? Bandai is another major creditor. Again, I assume they're fine. They're a big Japanese conglomerate, right? I assume like the people that are owed a lot of money are ultimately fine. In fact, Lunar's owed money. I think Lunar's owed like $500,000. Viz is owed $500,000. That one might hurt. I assume Viz isn't like super large, right? Like,
I think
like
I think they can absorb.
But I don't know that they have millions of dollars of capital. I'm saying
This is pretty big, dude.
yeah, maybe, yeah, no, it's possible. So and again, all this stuff will get worked out. I'm not suggesting that there aren't going to be people or companies or stores that aren't hurt by this, but I just do think that it's interesting that what would have been inconceivable a few years ago, right? Like there were always these arguments when people complain about Diamond, like, oh, but where would we be without them? Like they keep the industry afloat. They're the spinal cord of the industry. Well, I guess credit to the publishers for challenging that assertion, and admittedly in part brought on because of the pandemic, right? Like that kind of forced everybody's hand. But that led to us realizing, you know what, we don't really need Diamond. So I'm with you, Vince. If we could just get Christina to put out a previews of some kind. Now, she does already do that for
She already
their
does
publishers.
it, yeah.
But I'm saying, like, I still prefer the paper because I'm old school. I'm assuming we're never getting a paper catalog.
Yeah, stop thinking about yourself. Let's go digital.
I know.
That's the way to do it. I would not feel guilty at all about downloading a 400-page PDF. but that catalog every month, like that's I mean, yes, the comic book market is not that huge, but still, millions of people buy comics. I don't know what the print run is on that previews, but that's a lot of friggin' paper.
True.
And it's sad. Yeah.
Fact.
What's going to happen to Avatar and Boundless? How are they going to empty their warehouses?
I don't know.
Think about it. Like, I'm guessing that Avatar had a deal with Diamond because who buys those books? Even at the discount, I can't see it being a winning proposition to move all that paper. It's like somebody's taking the hit here. And I'm guessing Diamond was like, yeah, we'll give you 6 pages or whatever it was and charge you for 2. Like, I could see that happening.
Yep.
Whatever. It's a new world. It's exciting. Yeah, well, let's see what happens. As long as I can get my Ghost Machine books, and I'm good.
Well, print on demand. I'm sure Jeff will just... if anything ever happens, then Jeff can just print them right for you.
Well, they're Image, so I don't have any fear. Yeah, I'm good.
Yeah, I mean, this isn't necessarily new to, and this isn't. I'm not trying to go down some old head route, but like we've seen publishers, distributors go away.
Definitely, dude. There were
Capital City
led to Diamond. Yeah, led to Diamond being the last man standing. Yeah,
right. So I don't. I mean, it's we went from 3 to 1, and it's there's some readjusting, and there's a period where that things feel in flux. But I mean, those who can navigate the landscape and find a way forward, or any other sort of buzzwords, they're just. We're going to be okay. I mean, obviously comics aren't, but I mean, it's just, it's the time we have to wait till things get straightened out and things feel a bit more stable again. That's where, but yeah, I don't, part of me though, I feel bad for the retailers that might be stuck and obviously, yes, for the publishers who have to pull up their stakes, but selfishly, this is one of those things where it's almost kind of at the right time for me, because I am just looking to scale back, and if I don't have access to something, if I don't see something, just because if I don't see it in previews, because previews doesn't exist, then I can't miss what I don't have. So if I do, there's some collections. Thankfully, we get the CGN emails. I'm going to be aware of things that are coming out, but like my single issues, I think I might be down to like 5 or 6. But I mean, there's very few singles I'm getting. Collections.
And you're paying $5 a pop for those DC books too. Mm-hmm. That's insane.
Now, if you want to make the argument that this is going to accelerate the end of single issue comics,
no. You think so?
I'm open to that. No, I'm saying like I think that's a discussion that could be had. Like I think that could be accelerated here. And again, I'd be fine with that. I know that would upset you, Vince. But
same. No. No, I'd be fine. I'd be totally fine with that, because they would listen to my plea and anthologize. Right. We'd get one Ghost Machine trade paperback a month with all of the issues in it. I'd be like, it's like Forge and Edge all over again.
I don't think that's how it would go, but okay. No, I don't think that's the direction they would go. But again, like that's ifs and buts and candies and nuts. We'll see. Right? We'll see how. Who knows?
I think CrossGen. I think their publishing strategy was very prescient, because remember when they did the Forge and the Edge?
They went out of business.
The phone books.
No, but that's the thing. The industry. The industry was not ready for it then. It wasn't ready.
Well, it's not. No, I don't even know if it wasn't that. It was the packaging of their books. I think also what didn't help was the whole bullpen aspect of it. Everybody's got to come down to Florida, work out of Florida.
That was nuts. Yeah.
So
who the fuck wants to live in Florida?
Overlord control of it that probably didn't help anything. I mean, George needed special permission so he could go do JLA Avengers, and there's just a whole lot that there was a lot of baggage along with that. I think as far as the packaging of the books, those phone books that they, depending on what genre or which universe those books were part of, or in those phone books, that was cool.
They weren't phone books. They were thinner than that. You got maybe 5.
They weren't the Cerebus stuff. I know.
5, 6 issues. You got, and in one book you had Ruse, and you had Negation, and you had Sigil. It was awesome. You could buy either one, or you could buy both, and you would get a couple, maybe one issue of one title, then 2 issues of another, then one issue. Like, I thought those books were brilliant. I absolutely loved the cross-gen anthology format. I think that, mark my words, Jason's a naysayer. He doesn't think it's going to work. Whether it's today or it's 5 years from now, anthologizing is going to save comics, because DC is going to publish a Gotham City book, right? Which you got your Batman, you got your Nightwing, Harley Quinn, and Birds of Prey, whatever. Then you got your Metropolis book, Superman, Supergirl, whatever. Then you got your Justice League anthology that has all of the books that would be under the Justice League banner, which is everything these days. And I think that'll work. That'll work.
I mean, you've been saying this for 15 years. The U.S. industry has no interest in this. You've tried to talk about how it works in Japan, how cool it'll be here, and it largely falls on deaf ears because anthologies here do not sell.
They don't. No, they don't. But we realize.
I guess I feel like we're like you're going on a like there is no path like maybe you're saying but like all I'm saying is like that's not like companies aren't doing that. Like they're not like looking. No, none of these publishers are like suddenly saying, "Oh my god, like single issues going away, so let's anthologize single issues." If the single issue goes away, it's because they're just going to put out longer form collected stories. Like they already do that. Like they do that to great success. So like they're not looking for an entirely new distribution mechanism to try and test the market with. Like they've all put out anthologies and none of them ever sell ever.
Well, just because Americans are stupid. Just look at the Shonen. Look at the Shonen Jump format.
Again,
they sell totally massive.
Because
they're still human beings.
Raised on that.
Well, yes, they were raised on it. So
but that's everything. The reason the single issue in the U.S. exists is because that's how we were raised.
People can change, Jason.
Right, but Vince, they're not going to be. People aren't changing into a physical form of another type of. The idea is they're either going digital or they're going long form. Like what sells in the U.S. YA graphic novels, OGNs, and digital. That's what sells. They're going to go to that. They're not going to go to like, let's try and replicate something that's worked in Japan for decades, even though it's never worked here. Like, you're just barking up the wrong tree. I mean, again, I would be always open to. I love anthologies, so like I'm open to it, but I do not see that as a credible path for this depth of single issues.
You finish this scenario. Marvel and DC make an announcement. Okay, we're losing money on these singles, so here's what we're going to do, and they. Exactly what I say. If Marvel and DC says no more single issues, but we are still going to print, and it's going to be these extra-sized, chunky amalgamations of the books that you love, the same books that you love in a slightly different format. This doesn't have staples. It has glue, and it's square bound, right? How many people would say, "Oh, fuck this. I'm not getting it anymore"? Your diehards would still continue to buy them. And the diehards are the ones that have driven the industry forever. You tell me, everyone we know would just stop reading the books they love just because it's in a different format? I don't buy it. I just don't buy it. If they're forced to do it, they will comply.
You don't want to hear this, but it's far more likely that Marvel and DC just stop putting out monthly comics. Period.
That's not fair.
Well, I mean... like where they wake up and say, "Well, fuck." I mean, we make $4.5 billion a year each off of TV and licensing and movies, and like if this fucking these single issues are a pain in the ass and they're expensive and I don't have anywhere to distribute them. All right, well, let's just fucking stop. Like that's more likely than fucking tanko bonds of Fantastic Four. Like that's not happening.
That's when the direct market fills their pants. It's like, oh no, shit. Yeah, I'm a dreamer. I would love to see anthologies.
You are.
It is the way to go. I mean, it's going to be a hard battle. It's not, it is the way to go.
Nobody wants them.
I do, and that's all that really friggin' matters, isn't it?
Yeah.
F you. F you and your logic and your business acumen. Fuck it all. Make me them
He's like,
anthologies, bitch. Best
He's
of
like, I'm
Sue
so
Storm.
excited. He's like, this is going to lead to the all American publishers sign just act like they're Japanese publishers. It's going to be great.
Well,
They're gonna start
let's
printing
admit.
right to left too.
Can we admit the Japanese got it right the first time?
Hell yeah, of course.
Yeah, they did.
Of course.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah.
Yep.
Sure.
So,
Absolutely.
all right, let's move on. More comics. Cox.
Ah.
Yeah.
So
We've got-
the fourth issue of Absolute Wonder Woman reintroduces another character from Wonder Woman's main continuity. Etta Candy has been brought in, and because Diana and Steve know that, Diana asked Steve if he knows any witches, and he said yes, and so it's
I believe he said witches ain't shit but hoes and tricks. Actually,
I don't know if Steve's down with that,
I don't understand what that means. Translate,
but
please.
he
Snoop Dogg, Dr. Dre, bitches ain't shit but hoes and tricks. No, never
Okay.
mind.
Nope.
but Etta's sister Gia she's got a whole pantry full of items. Althea root, witch's burr, yucca root, black walnut, and there are a few things that Diana needs because Diana needs her arm back, and it's not necessarily a dangerous spell, but it's a spell that can take its toll, and blood is also required. So Steve, Etta, and Gia all have blood drawn, and Diana practically slathered with it, and does the spell, and her arm is back, so she can go after this behemoth that's now on land and is slowly making its way through Gateway City. Because if Diana's spell that is keeping people at bay from reaching the shore, it's going to go to the people. So she has to, she's got to take care of business, and she summons her sword out of the water, a la Mjolnir, and then recites another spell, which is crazy. I'm not going to go any further into what went on in the issue, but the last page is a bit of a cliffhanger because in true fashion, people who are unsure of scared people can react poorly at times, and if powerful people aren't sure where Wonder Woman's loyalties lie, or if they can't control where her loyalties lie, I think I think there's going to be a butting of heads very soon. But this was the fourth part of a 5-part story, still by Kelly Thompson, still beautifully illustrated by Hayden Sherman. It was the first thing I read today when I got my hand on my books, and there was one particular page that very nearly brought me to tears, because Etta, when Diana and Steve show up at Etta's apartment, Etta opens the door before Steve can ring the bell, and it's because even though Diana told the citizens to hunker down, stay safe, do not leave your homes, Etta was going to go out because she felt that there's danger and she needs to help people. And Etta used to be a detective in Gateway City, and now she's a private investigator. And Diana's so similar work, but now you work for yourself. Yes, and she goes, yeah, you have quite a way with words. And Diana's like, I do, and she says, yeah, you somehow make everything seem better than it is, as if it's hopeful. And there's just a couple of panels that just this interaction this short, brief conversation between these two characters, and just the way everybody carries themselves. It is. I said it last week with the Claskers. This is such a special series. It's one of those things that I do not. I feel bad when an issue is over because I don't want it to end. I want the next chapter, and I stop myself from going back and rereading it right away because I have other things I need to read. This is a fantastic creative team. I don't even know if it's because they're working on this book. I don't know if Kelly and Hayden would do magic like this on any other piece of art, but there's such something about this book, these creators that just it absolutely brings me joy. I'm so glad this book exists.
No lies. No lies detected.
Speaking of witches, this is a comics related aside. I'm currently reading a novel called Red Rabbit.
Oh.
It's about a witch that is being pursued by a pack of bounty hunters. It's a Western, actually. The author is Alex Grecian from Proof.
Oh, yeah.
It is absolutely amazing. I can't put the damn thing down. It's very well written. And I'm like, I saw the cover and I was like, wait a minute, Alex Grecian, what? Proof? Really? And I did a little bit of digging. Not his first novel. Like, he has a bunch of novels to his credit. But this one was published in 24. There's a sequel coming out to it in March. And it's really captivating. Like, you write a horror-themed Western, and I'm at the door, but I know what the guy's capable of because I have read and loved Proof. Right? We all enjoyed it. Even Rasputin was really good too. And this book is just banging. It's just amazing. Red Rabbit by Alex Grecian. Really, really good.
Nice.
Yeah.
By the way, it's clear to me that either Hayden Sherman or Kelly or both are big Final Fantasy fans because Wonder Woman's sword is a Buster sword. Nobody's telling me different. That's the fucking Buster sword. I'm sorry.
Wonder Cloud. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I have it's not a comic, but it's comic adjacent, and I think once you hear what it is, you'll be like, oh, this is allowed. And that is something that I know probably a lot of people listening either already or also received their copy or are waiting to get it, and that is the long-awaited reissue of the DC Comics Style Guide, which is. Go ahead, Dan. You were taking.
I got it right here. I was waiting for you to say it.
Oh, nice. Yeah. There's a lot of cool things about this. First of all, it's the way it came to be is cool to me because it's not like DC saying, "Oh, let's put out the style guide." Like that's actually not what happened here. There's a company called the Standards Manual, and I admittedly was not familiar with them before this. Maybe you were, Vince. I don't know, as a guy in design and graphics and stuff, but they are, I guess, a group of well-known graphic designers, and they have, through their passion of being lifelong graphic designers, have meticulously put out like archival versions of they find visually or like content interesting. So like there's like books on NASA, there's books on like the New York Transit Authority, on the national parks. It's basically, it's like wide-ranging subject area of things that they've put out, where they essentially are archivists. They find these interesting manuals and they meticulously recreate them and into a form that is beautifully packaged archival, but that the source material itself is as it was originally presented. Kind of like, I guess, a textual version of like the artist editions, right? Like it's kind of that type of thing. So they came across a copy of the original early '80s DC Comics Style Guide at a store, and they bought it years ago, and then they've been working ever since to get the rights and do the scans and do the all the things that they had to do to reproduce it in its original form. And finally, it's going to be on my shelf, and it's nearly 400 pages. I think it's 368 pages. Beautiful hardcover. And for those that don't know what this is, remember, I was not a DC Comics fan growing up. So it's weird to me that I knew about this thing because this was Jose Luis Garcia-Lopez was contracted by then publisher or president of DC Comics Paul Levitz to create a style guide. And Vince, you could correct me if I'm wrong here because you probably worked on actual style guides, but a style guide is effectively like a Bible that gives creators the visual blueprints for the do's and don'ts of things they need to render visually, right? Like it's or I guess writing their style guides for, but it's basically like how one goes about if you're going to create under the umbrella of something. There's a style guide that allows you to say this is what we do, this is how we do it, this is what we don't do, we do, and it gets pretty detailed, down to the minutia, right? And so back in the early 80s, I think 82 is when it was first issued, they released this style guide, and basically all DC creators were given a copy of it, and it was their reference, right? This was all pre-internet, pre-computers, pre-digital. And so if they were going to draw Justice League, they would have this style guide and go to the chapter for Justice League, and they would see how Jose Luis Garcia-Lopez rendered all the characters and the costumes and their vehicles and the buildings, and that was their source. That's what they had to use. And, these days that seems like such a foreign concept because every artist just can find reference instantly on the internet and pick whatever they think is cool and go with it. But back then, this was a pretty important component of keeping the visual and narrative consistency of the connected universe. Right, that was the key. Is like they had all these comics where all these characters were in the same world, but often didn't interact, and they wanted to make sure that if Batman was guest starring in Superman, that the artist made sure to draw Batman in the costume that was correct for the time. And that's what this book is. It is a reproduction of that Jose Luis Garcia-Lopez style guide, and it's just magnificent. And it has different chapters for different characters. It's got both color and black and white because it's got a color guide as well. It's the chapters are divided up by like families. There's the Superman family and the Batman family and the Justice League, and it's a marvel. It's a beautiful. Anyone who loves superhero comics and the history of it, this is just a magnificent edition. It's gorgeous. It would fit well on a coffee table book. I think this is a conversation piece that even if someone isn't into comics, it's appealing. But as comic fans, this is the kind of reference book that I will always treasure. And can't wait to to dig in even further. But I looked through quite a lot of it this week, and it's just fantastic stuff, and it feels great. Like almost just from a karma perspective, it feels great to have this on my show.
Nice.
You're not lying. I as soon as it was announced, I had to have it, and it arrived last week. Over the weekend, and I was flipping through it today. I finally opened the box and started flipping through it, and just the waves of memories. Not just because it's Jose Luis Garcia-Lopez and a bunch of model sheets and style guides, but I vividly remember whether it was lunch boxes or action figure blister packs or bedspreads, like anything that was licensed had his work on it, and certain images, certain illustrations in this book, I remember seeing somewhere, and it's weird because it's dated. He says in quotes because it's from the early '80s, and Wonder Woman. Robin, some of the characters in this book don't look the way they do now. Obviously, we're decades later, things change. But for just to have this, it's another piece of history. It's reference material. It's going on the shelf, just like so many of the other, like next to Understanding Comics or anything like that. But. It exists. It's here. It's not the original. Not that anybody's gonna be able to get that without us shelling out a small fortune. But I'm absolutely elated that that DC had Standards Manual and they worked together to put this out. It's a beautiful looking book. It's heavy. It's a great looking hardcover. It's It's oversized. Yeah, I can't. It's very similar to the way they scanned it in. The page is very similar to an artist edition.
Yes.
Just because you've got
you can
it's
see the
not like
three-hole
it's
punch, and you can.
right. It's not full bleed. It doesn't go from edge to edge. You see where it was scanned and the coloring of those pages compared to the stark white that the paper is. It's a great book. I definitely recommend it. I don't even know. This was one of those things where I didn't even bother to see how much it was when it was coming out.
It is expensive. It'll say for people. It's $95.
Yeah, 95 retail. But it's yeah. I'm happy I have it. I'm elated I have it. If we had to pack a go bag, this is definitely going in it. It's absolutely.
I don't know about that. I don't know if I go that far, but jeez. It's heavy to be in a go bag, but yeah.
That's true. Well, I got a big backpack. But no, it's yeah. I definitely
big broad shoulders.
That's right. No, this is probably one of those things where if you're in your 20s or 30s, you're probably just like, yeah, whatever, man, just wrap it up. But this is just one of those things where I love it.
Vince,
if this doesn't get you turgid, listen to the specifications listed on this.
Wait. Stop before you stop. Don't waste your breath. Don't waste your breath. Number one, I would never consider buying this book.
Why?
Because I can't afford the shelf space. I can't devote the shelf space to an art book, and one that is just page after page after page of beautifully rendered characters that I know and love. Like that's and you said it's like $95. Like that is not even a consideration for me. I would not buy it. Not because I love Jose Garcia-Lopez. I love his work, but I can't. There's no way I would be able to relinquish that shelf space for something that I would look at once and never go to again. I'm not going to rate on your parade.
I hear you, but I would just say that we all have tons of things on our shelves that we've never looked at once. You just got done saying in our books, "Oh, I own that, but I never read it."
No, that's a single issue. That's buried in a box.
My point of view, probably that means you own the run. You don't just randomly own issue number 8 of that book. You own runs of comics that you've never read.
Probably.
We all do.
Probably.
Everyone that's listening to this podcast has comic. We say all the time, we have more comics that we haven't read in our possession that could last a lifetime.
I can't justify, number one, the space required to shelf this book or the cost required to obtain it. I can't justify
all I'm going to say to you is CMYK +1 PMS custom metallic.
Oh, great. That's a nightmare, dude. I've been doing that my entire life.
Come on. Detailed stochastic offset printing, Vince. Come on, dog. Paragord matte 135 GSM paper, fam.
No.
Gloss UV spot varnish cover.
There are very few artists in comics that deserve this kind of lavish treatment. And I think Garcia-Lopez is one. He set the tone for DC for a ton of years. This book,
and I'm just curious. Like,
the book needs
to exist. I never heard anything about a Marvel. I'm sure they existed. Like, I feel like the DC style guide was like in all caps. Like, even as a non-DC reader growing up, like I knew of its existence. Right?
Knowing Stan, they probably would have clipped panels and just pasted them into a fucking book.
God,
it was probably all in Romita Senior's head.
You're such an asshole.
Here's your style guide, true believer. You fuck.
The only thing that Marvel would have that would come close was the Master Edition of the Handbook. That was all.
The Hot Wheels.
Yeah. But just think about it. They paid Garcia-Lopez very well to produce these images.
Yeah. They also paid him very well to keep him because they didn't want to risk him going anywhere else.
Right.
He was somebody.
If you're going to retain a visual stylist, Garcia-Lopez is one of the ones to keep on the payroll. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's wild that that I think more of him. I love the man's work, but you would probably more people would know him, even if they don't know his name, but they know his work. More people would know him from licensed work than from Atari Force or Cinder and Ash or anything else that he may have drawn.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah, it's good. It's a good thing this book exists. I'm happy for both of you, but I won't be buying it. I don't buy art
I
books.
can't-
I really don't.
I know.
I can't wait for people to pull off all the years ago when we were talking about the Taschen sales, and Vince would gush over these.
That's
Taschen
totally different. That is totally 100% different.
books. Like, is there $200 instead of $100?
No. I own a good amount of Taschen books, but that,
I know you do.
yes, that is totally different.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah, whatever.
Whatever.
All right, I'm going to get into that other book that I hinted at. This one,
I would never buy it, so don't bother talking about it.
That's okay. This one blindsided me. Didn't expect it. We did get an email promo for this, but I kind of passed it off as like, whatever. It's called, well, I won't tell you what it's called until I tell you the creative team. It's written by Steve Orlando and John Harris Dunning, with art by Alessandro Oliveri, color art by Francesca Vivaldi, letters are by Fabio Amelia. It's published by Dark Horse, and it's called Ripperland #1. Get the pitch on this book. I think the pitch is, or the environment in which the story takes place is intriguing. It's London, 2188. To the eye, it looks like Victoria-era London. Public displays of technology are against the rules. In fact, there's no electricity in the place at all. No friggin' cell phones.
So is it like steampunk?
Seems like paradise to me. No.
Is this, no, it's not steampunk.
No. Brexit destroyed the UK. Wales, Scotland, and Northern Ireland joined the EU. England was left on its own. It was penniless and vulnerable, so it turned to America and became a protectorate. England is essentially a theme park. A period-specific theme park for American tourists. That's pretty freaking cool. They operate without electricity. It is just like, for all intents, it's Victorian-era England. And so now you have, there's two law enforcement agents working. Just like, it's amazing. The When I Lay My Vengeance Upon Thee had two priests working towards a certain goal. This book has two law enforcement agents working towards a certain goal. One of them is Detective Edwin Fogg from Scotland Yard. And he's a very above board dude. There's a madam berating a prostitute, and he intercedes to no avail, but this guy has to do what's right? And one of the things that he's trying to do is to collar this thief, Jake the Eel Whitby. And unfortunately for Jake, his last pilfer included the engagement necklace of one Lady Bracknell. Something that's very high profile, that the entirety of London is looking for. His fence won't even touch the damn thing. So he's on the pursuit of the eel. Meanwhile, you have a pack of wealthy American assholes, which is led by a self-absorbed shit named Kenny Fitzpatrick, who is the grandson of a media mogul, like the biggest media mogul on the planet. All of the law enforcement agencies and pretty much everyone is beholden to this man. So you have his grandson on vacation in the theme park that is England. The dude's high on opium, right? He takes a minute to sample the local flavor, which was a young man in a bowler hat and suspenders. And he soon turns up very, very dead. He was eviscerated, Ripper style. And the location of his murder is very symbolic because he was killed in London's East End. So you know that it's related to the Jack the Ripper murders. So is it murder? Is it theater? Or is it both? Right? The body was found by a young woman just as Fogg was about to bring down the eel. This woman enters the picture and she's got blood all over. She tripped over the body. So what does he do? Does he collar the eel? Does he not help this woman? So he's conflicted and he ends up letting the eel go. long enough for him to slip away, and he tends to the woman. And so now you have the biggest media mogul on the planet. There's an FBI agent named Jesse Holden, who it's alluded to that he had some problem with his partner in the past. We don't know whether the partner died or whatever happened, but there's a backstory going on, right? So the FBI is involved because this media mogul gives money to high-profile politicians, as we've seen, right? It's a trend. So the FBI sends Jesse Holden to England, right? And he's totally like a fish out of water. He's like, we got to get forensics in on this. And he pulls out his cell phone and like, people are like, whoa, wait a minute. You can't use that here. It is strictly, verboten. Get that shit out of here. So now you have Fogg on the one hand and Holden on the other. They both have something to prove. Both are haunted by ghosts from their past, right? Holden is very resistant to the limitations that he perceives in his new environment. Meanwhile, Fogg is used to working under these limitations and is a bit more resourceful because of it, right? So they're doing an autopsy on the body. It's like, yes, whoever did this was very knowledgeable in anatomy and the functioning of the human body and blah 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 blah. And the person doing the cutting reaches into the body. He's like, what the fuck is this? He pulls out a European flag that was lodged in the body of the victim. And that's where the issue ends. Like, wow, holy shit. I thought this issue was like, where did this come from? Not only the story, I found it was very compelling, but the art by Alessandro Oliveri reminds me of Jerry Grandinetti. Are you kidding me? Like, I'm a huge fan of Grandinetti. That loose, just breezy, very, very gestural style that didn't connect with readers back in the day, but I friggin' love it. And this is more of the same. I think Oliveri's art is it's very fluid and very loose, and I just think it's amazing. The color work is beautiful, but I think it's a wonderful combination of story and art, because like, I want to know what the fuck. There's a mystery here. Like, how could you leave a mystery dangling? That's one of the problems I have with crime/mystery comics, that once I'm presented with the mystery, if I pay attention enough to actually get the deets on the mystery, like, I want to know how it pans out. Are we not all like that?
Isn't that the point of a mystery?
Right. Exactly. So, but you have one guy that is seemingly working at a deficit, and the other is used to working that way, but he doesn't have the benefit of modern technology, and they both have to bury whatever opinions or notions they have on each other and work to solve this mystery. I think it's wonderful. This book is so good. Ripperland. It is. Did you see any of the preview pages or any of the covers or anything?
I'm looking at it now.
It's great. I can tell you don't like the art.
Well, no, I like the art. Like, I like this. I don't like Victorian motif. I like the art itself. I like a lot. I don't. But like, the setting is saltpeter to me.
Victorian era, really?
Yeah, totally.
Holy shit!
Anything steampunk, it just doesn't.
I'm a huge Ripper aficionado too. Like, that story is just so compelling to me. That's one of the reasons why I love From Hell, because at the core, it's the Ripper mystery.
True.
Yes, and I thought, I don't know where to put From Hell on the back burner. Like, is From Hell the reason why I'm so captivated with the Ripper mythology, or is the Ripper mythology what got me into From Hell in the first place? I don't know. But I'm a sucker for Jack the Ripper. That someone could get away with that. And nobody has, well, Moore does, or he thinks he did, but nobody really has a definitive resolution to that mystery. And it's probably never going to be solved, right?
I would imagine at this point, yeah.
Right. But Ripperland, surprising. Out of the blue, left field. Yo, was it good.
You.
Yes. But I have a newfound appreciation of the work of Steve Orlando. Not only from The Scarlet Witch and this, but he's doing the 2099 stuff. That shit's gold, man. That stuff's gold. Ask Dap.
It is. It is entertaining, and yes, it is his Scarlet. I mean, and it's, yeah, I've been impressed with Steve Orlando lately. At least his, I was going to say his Big Two stuff, but obviously Ripperland isn't. But it's like his creator-owned stuff at Image, not really my cup of, which is fine. But I was also thinking Image? Similarly. He did. There were definitely. There was at least one LGBTQIA book. There might have been more. And not that was the main concept, but I believe the characters all lead queer. But in a similar vein, Alex Segura, because we had the Green Hornet, Miss Fury, but Question All on the Watchtower. He's done a bunch of stuff for Archie. He's come up a bit since he started years ago. So yeah, I mean it's nice that we still have folks like Greg Pak and of course Hickman or Jason Aaron and Al Ewing, but some of the guys who were kind of under the radar or underappreciated when they premiered because the books may not have been all that hot. They put their time in, they paid their dues, and we're enjoying the works they're doing now.
You totally lost me on that, but that's okay.
That's okay.
Yeah. It's good stuff. Ripperland. Take a chance. You'll love it. I would guarantee you'll love it.
Guarantee.
If you don't love the art, your taste sucks.
Wow.
Yeah. No.
The art is funky. I dig the art.
The art's great. It's so freaking loose. It's beautiful. It's gestural. He's capturing the spirit, not the details, like the emotion, not the
emotional damage.
He did Commanders in Crisis. That's what Orlando did.
What's that?
That was from 2020. It wasn't. I remember reading the first issue. Not going to go into it now. No, I'm looking at the Image stuff. I may have been wrong. I know he did Love Is Love. That was with IDW.
I would find living in Victoria era exhausting, just because of the style of dress would be like a huge burden to me. I'd have to get because your boots got to be a certain thing and your pants got to be just right, and then you have the jacket with the poofy shirt and it's like the hat and all that. I look at some of the fashion in this book and it's like that must have been a chore to dress. It is exhausting, but they look damn good doing it. Like I like looking in on this era. I would not want to actually have to participate in it because I throw on a pair of pants and a friggin' fleece in the morning. Like that's the entirety of me getting dressed. Can you imagine if I had to powder my wig and put the fucking dot on my cheek? Like it's too much. It's just too much. But I think they look damn good doing it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Did I say Ripperland number one?
They have to get ready to. How much time do they have to spend to get ready before they go to a convention?
Oh, boatloads of time. Mm-hmm. Ripperland. All the time. Ripperland number one. What else are we shooting? Oh, look at this! Wow, we got to head out. Yeah, we're over the line.
Gets to scrambling. Yeah.
We are so glad that you spent this time with us because we love you so much. Please, if you want to save money, who doesn't? Especially these days. CheapGraphicNovels.com. Say it, boys.
CheapGraphicNovels.com.
Okay. We'll save you tons of money. And then you get free shipping on your first order if you're a first-time buyer. Just remember, reply to the email confirmation. mention us, and Max will give you free shipping on your next order. It's amazing. They have all the stuff, all the specials. Check out our Patreon, patreon.com/11o'clockcomics. And if you would be so kind, we would love you even more than we already do. I know it's not possible, but we'll try to find more room in our hearts for you should you leave us a review somewhere that you listen to this. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Joe's podcast thing, wherever you listen, leave us a review. If it's a star system, or if it's like you actually have to type in words, it would benefit us greatly if you would do that. So if you feel like it, do it. In the meantime, I'm going to make this short and sweet. Let me just roll on over here to get the book. It is a massive book. Hang on.
Oh, you found room for it in your shelf, though, huh?
No.
Yep.
It's actually, I don't have a shelf big enough to store this book.
Oh, what do you know?
Yes. It is published by Boom. It is one of those pen and ink editions.
Oh, really?
It's massive. I don't know what, it looks like it's about 11 by 17, 12 by 17. Mm-hmm. It is huge. I have both volumes.
Oh.
It is the pen and ink edition of Bryce Carlson and Vanessa R. Del Rey's Hit. Now, I admit I am guilty of not keeping up on everything Vanessa R. Del Rey has done. And from the book is entirely annotated. Every page has annotations from Vanessa and Bryce Carlson. From what I've gleaned from the annotations, this was her first comic book work. For this book, looking as it does to be her first comic book work, holy crap. This is the absolute best I've ever seen Vanessa R. Del Rey look. It is. Have you guys read Hit?
I haven't actually, which is interesting because I would consider myself early on the Vanessa Del Rey train, but
yeah.
It is astoundingly beautiful.
I was going to make fun of you about this because it sounds like an archival thing you're going to look at maybe once in your life, but the fact that it's about Vanessa Del Rey, I have to step back from the.
See, that's how I do. That's how I do it.
Yeah, because that's my girl. In fact, shout out, we got a chance to hang out with her and talk at New York Comic Con, and
yes, we did.
So yeah,
but running commentary from the creators, beautiful and it's published in black and white. I guess the single issues were published in color, from what I can ascertain. But holy crap. It's about a police detective that is in cahoots with his superior to ensure that justice, or at least their brand of justice, is delivered. What does that mean? It means that should a criminal get off scot-free, thanks to the chinks in the legal system, this detective and his posse go out and eliminate them. Yes. So you get an extreme brand of justice in here, and there's a femme fatale that enters the picture. It is absolutely gorgeous. I don't know where I got these, but I'm sure glad I did. But I have to wonder how Boom is making any money on these things, because, like I said, they're giant, and the paper's extremely heavy. Each volume contains 2 issues of the first Hit miniseries. They have French flaps, and they're $15 an issue. Where's the profit? How are you guys making money on this? Because after discount, this thing probably would have been less than $10. Okay, all right, I'll take it, but. To Jason's credit, or not to Jason's credit, against what Jason said, I have read this. I have read this once already. This is the second time. I read it in single issue form when it came. I think when it came out, and I didn't pay it too much attention. That's on me. But now that I see it in black and white, I think it does the art much more credit in black and white, and it stuck with me. And I'm so glad wherever I got them, that I now have both volumes of the pen and ink Hit by Vanessa Ardell Ray and Bryce Carlson. This is a keeper. This is phenomenal.
Okay, you came correct.
Thanks.
Yeah.
I'm glad you're happy with it.
Yeah. You saved yourself.
Nice.
There you go.
Since I'm all caught up on Dan, I went back and because I realized I only read the first chapter, so I've been plowing through Bakuman, and it's a lot of fun. I'm only up to chapter 13, but and I know what they just 20 volumes total of the print of the Tenkoban volumes, but this is by the same creative team that brought us Death Note, Sugumi Oba and Takeshi Obata, and it is about two ninth graders. The artist Moritaka Mashiro and his classmate Akito Takaki, they it starts off innocently enough. Mashiro leaves his notebook at school. He goes back to get it, and Takagi has found it and in the classroom and was thumbing through it, and basically offers Mashiro an opportunity to draw the manga that he wants to write. He figures with your illustrations, we can make it as manga artists, and that's basically it. It's very much, at least the beginning, and I don't know where we're going to end up, but it's kind of a look at how a manga is created. Mashiro's uncle was a manga artist who never who wanted that massive hit had his work and Shonen Jump and everything like that, and now his nephew is kind of following in his footsteps. The uncle had died, and Mashiro's grandfather gave him the keys to his uncle's studio, so now they actually have a place where they can work out of. At times, the schoolwork seems to suffer a little bit because they're focused on the book. They end up actually meeting with an editor, so they can get their work done. And there seems to be a little bit of there's a rival. There's another manga artist who never stops working, and he won an award. He's been featured in Jump, and there's a page in one of the chapters where they're offering him, the contract and he'll be published, but he says in order for him to take that deal, he wants to be able to cancel any other manga in the book, and they're willing to consider it. So I don't know. I have a feeling that it's possible that our heroes he'll be threatened by our heroes and want to have that series canceled. So I'm really having a lot of fun with it. In your travels, I'm reading it from the Shonen Jump app. There are, like I said, there are 20 volumes total of the print copies, 176 chapters. It started in 2008. It ran until 2012, and yeah, if I keep it up at this pace, I should be done with it soon. I love the art. The girlfriends are adorable. There are times I have to remind myself that these are really only ninth graders because they're not really drawn that way. But then again, same thing with the end of Dan. No, it's a fun series. In your travels, Bakuman.
Do you know who's a huge fan of Bakuman?
Who?
Our friend Will Pfeiffer.
No kidding.
Yep.
Nice.
Will. Okay.
Yep. I started that back in the day, but I didn't stick with it. I think I read the first. I have the first 3, and I
think I have the DVD somewhere.
I just kind of fell off, but yeah, it's good stuff.
Nice. In your travels, I'm going to talk about a book that I am beginning to wonder if anyone else cares about.
Wow.
Yeah, it's an existential question. I'm talking about G.I. Joe. G.I. Joe number 3.
Yeah, isn't it weird? We were so hot on that when it first, and then it's just like, whatever.
But I don't think I'm still enjoying it, but I don't think your sentiment there is alone, because going off of the 11 o'clockers, and this week I'm posting the top 100 selections of our audience. There is not a lot of love for the G.I. Joe stuff. Transformers was a top 5 book by the listeners, and so it's just interesting to me. Like I don't hear anybody talking about us. I don't hear any of our slackers don't ever seemingly post about the stuff unless we mention them and then they react to it. So it's like I don't know how it's.
They post more about the classified figures, far more about the classified figures than they do about the book.
Yeah. And I also wonder if timing a little bit, because and I gushed about this a week or two ago, the compendium, the beautiful compendium collection, but again, that's a Skybound thing too. So it's not like they're knowingly doing that too. But it's like I feel like a lot of us who are theoretically interested in G.I. Joe are interested more because of the nostalgia, and Skybound just gave us the ultimate mega dose of nostalgia by giving us the entirety of the original Joe run in a gorgeously packaged new form, right? So it's like, but anyway, that being said, issue number 3 of the relaunched Energon Universe G.I. Joe came out, written by Joshua Williamson, art by Tom Riley, colors by Jordi Belair, letters by Russ Wooten. It's a lot of fun. Like I think it's off to a really fun start. It's different, which is good. They're forging their own path here. Certainly not the first time that's been done, right? Devil's Due did it, IDW did it. I mean, it's been done many times, but I like that. I like the direction. I like they're keeping it basically kind of tight and right with the team at the start. They're not giving us 50 G.I. Joe members and 100 Cobra villains. It's pretty tight right now, which makes sense because both groups are kind of just getting off the ground. I think it's well paced. I think the characters, at least the ones that are the tried and true characters, are done well. I have nothing but good things to say about the book. We meet Tomax and Zaymot in this issue, which I'm a big fan of. So it's all good, but as I finished reading it, I thought is anybody into this book? Is
this thing on? Tap tap tap.
Yeah, kind of because I feel like when Void Rivals hit, we were all freaking out about the Transformers being in that, and then Transformers is still hot. At least the main book, and I don't know. And it could just be that our audience is not necessarily indicative of the entirety of comics fandom. So maybe it's just like our little pocket of the world isn't as much into this as I thought they'd be. But also to the point, kind of the way you just kind of led right into it. I don't feel like you two are clamoring for more Joe. So it's it's
weird. I
don't know.
I think it's a great illustration of just how fickle buyers are and readers, because exactly what you said, the book was on fire. The miniseries, especially the miniseries, leading up to the ongoing, we were all over it. And then all of a sudden it's just okay, new issue of G.I. Joe. I'll get to that, or I won't.
Yep.
I don't understand it. I'm sure a lot of publishers wonder how to maintain interest as well, because it's extremely emblematic of the way things go in the marketplace, right?
Yeah. Well, that Kirkman paid a boatload for the license, so he's not stopping at issue 3. They're gonna keep putting it out the book. I mean, they can't afford not to, but it's And again, I'm enjoying it, but I feel like it's certainly not like an It book, right? It's not a book that people seemingly are can't wait to I feel like we've talked about Absolute Wonder Woman every issue the week it's come out, right? We can't help ourselves, but that's not the case with this. So.
True. You're 100% right.
Yeah.
I know we're at the tail end of this thing, but I just want to befuddle you guys. I just want to surprise you.
Oh?
Because I did something extremely uncharacteristic of myself. I read an issue of The Flash.
Like out of no, just
because it had Warlord on the cover.
Because it had fucking Warlord on the cover.
Are you a big Warlord?
I almost read it too.
I honestly didn't know you were a big Warlord fan because
we need to dissect this. I'm a very big Warlord fan, even though he was drawn by someone whose work I don't especially like.
I was going to say you're not a big Grell fan.
I'm not a big Mike Grell fan, but I did like the Warlord comic, which I guess maybe then I'm a Mike Grell fan. I don't know.
I was going to say
I don't know how that works.
Make you a Mike Grell fan?
I really don't know how that works. But anyway, so Warlord's on the cover of Flash, and I'm like, what? So I started reading it, and I said, wait a minute, this is Wally. How did this happen? When did Wally become the star of the Flash? Have I been out of the picture that long? Because the last Flash I read was fucking Barry. And now it's Wally?
How long ago was that?
I don't know. But now it's Wally? And the kids are in it? And wait, the kids are in it. So it's like it's almost as if time has reverted or jumped back to the actual time when I was reading and enjoying Flash, when the one true Flash, Wally West, was in the costume. I'm not crazy about the costume. He is the one true Flash. I don't think the costume's all that great. But there's shit going on with Wally and Warlord, like they're on Skartaris, and it's a freaking floating island. Like, what is happening?
Well, I know Wally became the main Flash in that. What was that event? Infinite Frontier? Is that what? Yeah.
I don't even know what that is. But
yeah.
but
so maybe 3-4 years ago, he became the main titular Flash again.
Okay. Well, Cy Spurrier's writing it, so okay, you got my attention. Warlord's in it. This person that's drawing it. Let's see. Vasco Georgiev. I don't know who this is, but I don't mind the art. I think the art's pretty damn good. It's different for a Flash book. It's a little more cartoony, and I don't want to spoil it for anybody, but Warlord's not Warlord. He's somebody else.
Travis Morgan?
It is Travis Morgan.
Travis Morgan? Okay.
Yes. There's something inhabiting this frame of Travis Morgan that's not, at least to what I could get out of it. Now, I'm going to have to go back and read some stuff because, again, you drop me in the middle of a story and you say, okay, this character's impersonating Travis Morgan. It's like, what? All right. Like, what's the connection between friggin' Wally West and Travis Morgan anyway?
I guess you're going to have to tell us.
I don't know. But it's was off topic. Was Cy Spurrier the writer on that whale story that Fraser Irving was drawing that never finished? Or am I thinking of another writer? Did you say whale?
Yeah.
I don't know, bro.
I don't know.
Okay. I'll look it up. Go ahead.
Yeah. No, it's weird. It's just a strange book. But for me to, okay, Warlord's on the cover of Flash. What's going on here? I started reading it. It's like, this isn't half bad. It's goofy. It's fun.
Look at you all back in DC like it's never.
It's unexpected. And the fact that the kids, like the nuclear family.
See, that's reason enough for me to tune out. I'm absolutely out on the kids.
But it's Wally's history. Like, why would you discount that?
Well, I'm not I don't care about Wally.
You're wrong.
Yeah, bro.
You actually care about Barry?
Gutsville.
No,
Gutsville.
When have you ever heard me talk about a Flash book? I don't read the Flash.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like in the grand scheme of things, Flash died in Crisis on Infinite Earths, and should have stayed dead. Should never have come back, because Wally is the one true Flash. Just saying.
He wasn't, but okay. Yeah.
No, he is actually. It's just DC got confused and started.
Kyle Rayner then is your Green Lantern, or
no?
Exactly. Guy is his Green Lantern.
Guy's my Green Lantern.
Oh, okay. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, he picks the best characters. He picks the best legacy characters.
No. Here's the deal. When I got involved in DC, Guy was front and center in the Green Lantern Corps. I didn't. Hal was just like, okay, this old friggin' ACAB.
Yes, exactly.
Right? And Guy was like a hair trigger. He was he was unpredictable. Like
Guy was a rebel.
Yeah. Batman punched him, and it was fun.
Yep. One punch.
Yeah.
I mean, Kyle Chandler's playing Hal in the new Green Lantern show, so he's. I mean,
Nathan Fillion's playing Guy
the type.
in the Superman movie.
Wait, what?
Oh, yeah.
Complete with a bad wig.
Nathan Fillion. Yeah.
Well, Nathan Fillion on a good day has a bad wig, but
it's just. I mean, I'm excited to see him, but yeah, I mean the core show on Max should be interesting too.
wait, what is happening? There's a Green Lantern core show coming to
Where have you
Max?
been, dude? Tom King is the writer.
I don't pay attention to that shit.
We were telling him we want to be on the show when we saw him in New York. He said,
Yeah, that's going to happen.
He says we don't have a Kyle. I think he said we don't have a Kyle cast yet. So who wants to be Kyle?
Where was I when this conversation was going on?
You were standing right there. You were standing between me and Jason.
Yep. But we were talking to Tom, so you were probably tuning out.
Dude, I could play. I could be a better Lobo than fucking Momoa.
Momoa?
I think he's a perfect caster. I think
Nah,
I think he's better Lobo than he is as
Dude,
Aquaman.
you need a Sicilian.
100%. If you're not going to get Bisley, then you might as well get Momoa.
Oh, Bisley. Yeah, like he's even going to show up.
If he can show up for the set,
Seriously.
So
made a wrong turn.
So Gutsville is currently on hiatus. It's a 6-issue comic book limited series from Image Comics, which began in May 2007. Written by Simon Spurrier, drawn by Fraser Irving. We've had 3 issues out of 6, and it's been on hiatus. It's been on hiatus since 2008.
Jesus. Yeah. Well, okay. Let's do a little bit of detective work. Cy Spurrier has continued to produce books. Fraser,
yes,
not so much.
Well, if you look at Irving's bibliography since this series, he did the Black Bolt. He's been doing a bunch of work at.
So maybe they just had a falling out, or
oh, maybe yeah. Okay, so I didn't. That was information I did not know. Remember the first time we met him, and I called him Fraser, and he goes, "No,
it's
Fraser." I'm like, okay.
I have a rare pencil sketch of Black Bolt by Fraser.
Yeah, you do.
He tends not to do pencils. But yeah, after that, he worked on X-Men Divided We Stand. He did an issue of Proof. Adventure Time Spooktacular. An issue of Justice League. Yeah, he's been busy. I think the last thing he did was maybe, what was it? Oh, he hasn't really done much since 2019.
But okay, there you go. Long story short, this issue of Flash didn't suck.
That's great.
Look at that.
There you go.
I'm happy.
Georgiev's art's really good.
I do like it a lot.
Yeah,
it's loose. It's unpretentious.
He did Super Sons, Dad.
There's not yes.
Okay.
Not a whole lot of noodling going on. It's just all just fun, in service to the story. But there's a giddiness to the line that I like a lot. It just he just seems to be happy to be drawing these characters in these environments. So there you go. Hey everybody, thank you for listening. We love you so much. We hope you come back next time because we'll be here. In the meantime, say goodnight. This is not going to go over well, but I'm going to do it anyway. Oh shit! Wrong way. Go!
Emotional damage.
David.
Good night.
You know, I'm much more willing to try a DC book these days than a Marvel book.
Yeah, clearly.
Love you.
Yeah, Marvel's in a rush.
That's it for that one.